Today we're going to talk about inflatable lifting bags. Some bag characteristics is each bag is Kevlar cord reinforced, has a dimpled surface for improved grip, they're portable, they're capable of lifting heavy weights, they're stackable, you can stack two bags on top of each other, and they're inflated using portable air cylinders. So what do we have? We have 24 by 24 inch bags. The max lift is 26.5 tons. The max height is 12 inches. We have a 17 by 17 inch bag. The max lift is 13.4 tons. The max height is 9 inches. We have a 12 by 12 inch bag. Its max lift is 6.8 tons. And its max height is 6 inches. So how much weight is that? 1 ton equals 2,000 pounds. The average weight of a U.S. vehicle is about 4,000 pounds. So what can the 24 by 24 bag lift? It can lift about 12 cars. The 17 by 17 bag could lift about 6 cars. And the 12 by 12 bag can lift about a car and a half. So things to keep in mind when you're setting up these bags: you always want to check for sharp objects before placing the bags on the ground. Use the provided base plates when you can. These things are basically just big rubber balloons, and if you place them on a sharp object, they can pop and rupture. You want to make sure the vehicle is stable. Whenever you're doing lifting operations, you always want to remember lift an inch, crib an inch. You never want to place any part of your body under the object being lifted without cribbing. You want to know what you're lifting and what is behind it. So if you're lifting something up, it could get overbalanced or something and roll backwards. You want to know what's behind it, and if anybody is behind it, you need to tell them to watch out as well. You never want to exceed the inflation pressure of 118 psi. You never want to stack more than 2 lifting bags. Of course, you always want to wear appropriate PPE. And if the surface of the object that you're going to lift is hot or greater than 131 degrees Fahrenheit, you want to use padding in between the hot surface and the surface of the lifting bag. If you try and lift something up that's hot, it could heat up the surface of that lifting bag and weaken the rubber, and it could rupture. You don't want to overinflate the bags. Whenever you overinflate the bags, not only are you stretching them out, they make them weak, but you make them kind of round, and whenever things are round, it's not very stable. If the person at the controls cannot see the bags or the object being lifted, you're going to need a spotter. When you're setting up the airbags, you can connect and use up to 2 airbags at a time. You want to connect the regulator to the air cylinder. You want to connect the green air hose to the regulator and to the airbag controls. You want to connect the red hose to the controls and to an airbag. And you want to connect the blue hose to the controls and to an airbag. When you're lifting using a single airbag, you want to connect the system. You want to have cribbing or other supports readily available. You want to place the bag on a stable surface under the object to be lifted. And you want to slowly inflate the bag until contact is made with the object. Once the bag touches the object that you're going to lift, then you can slowly lift it. Alright, so lifting using 2 airbags. You kind of set it up the same as a 1 bag lift. You want to place a smaller airbag on top of the larger airbag. You want to inflate the bottom airbag first until the top airbag starts to touch the object that you want to lift. And then if the airbag is not tall enough, you can raise and crib the bottom airbag and base until you get the desired height. Then once you got the bottom airbag inflated and the top airbag touching the object, you can slowly inflate the top bag and stabilize and crib as you go. And if the person at the controls is not able to see, then a spotter must instruct the controller on which bag to lift first. And that's done by just calling out the color of the air hose that's attached to the airbag. So instead of saying small bag, big bag, top bag, little bottom bag, you want to say go up on red or go up on blue. So how do you increase the max lift of the bags? You can't increase the max lift by stacking them. But what you can do is you can place 2 bags side by side and lift the object at the same time. And basically what that does is it takes the max lift of 1 bag and adds it to the max lift of the other bag. So if you have two bags, one can lift 8 tons and one can lift 12 tons. If you place them side by side and inflate them at the same time, they can lift up to 20 tons. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about how to lift unusually shaped objects. And this could be anything from just irregularly shaped objects or cylinders like tanker trucks or tanks or big light poles or anything like that. Whenever it's irregularly shaped, You want to put something in between the bag and the object, like either one of the base plates or maybe some plywood or something like that. And then when you lift cylindrical objects, you want to put one airbag on each side and lift it at the same time. If you only put one airbag on one side and try and lift it, it's just going to roll the object. All right, you can use the airbags to separate and push. So what you want to do is you want to put the airbag in between the object to be moved and a solid object. So if a car is pushed up against the wall and you want to push the car away from the wall, you want to put the airbag in between the car and the wall and slowly inflate it, and it'll just move the car away from the wall. All right, for cleaning and inspecting the airbags, you want to obviously clean them and inspect them after each use. You want to look out for oil spots. Oil can make the airbag slippery. You don't want to have any dirt inside the nozzle, because whenever you hook those airbags up, it's going to push that dirt into the airbag. Whenever you clean it, you want to use a brush with hard bristles and cold water. After the majority of the dirt is cleaned off, a mild dish detergent may be used to finish the cleaning. You want to dry the airbag with a clean cloth and allow it to finish air drying. And you don't want to try and dry these airbags by putting them in the sun or using a hair dryer or anything hot to speed up the drying process. Alright, so in summary, let's talk about some possible situations where lifting with one single airbag could be helpful. So if someone's trapped underneath the car, you can use one airbag to lift up the car. If somebody's trapped under a tree, you can lift up the tree with the airbag. If they're at a construction site and they get their hand caught underneath a concrete block or some kind of construction material, you could use it to lift up that material to get their hand free. There's a lot of different things you could use these bags for. Some situations where lifting with two airbags could be helpful. Anything, basically all the things as before, it's just when you need a little bit more height. So if you just had to get a car a little bit higher up than with one airbag, that's when you'd want to use it. And also another situation for lifting with or separating objects with the airbag is, like I said before, if someone's pinned in between a car and a dividing wall on a highway, or a car and a wall or any kind of construction material on a wall, you could use it to separate those two objects and get them out. Here's some examples of what these airbags can be used for. Obviously, the first one is somebody trying to lift up something. The second one is someone's hand is caught underneath a piece of concrete. You use the airbag to get that out. Again, some more construction materials is falling. They're trying to lift up those materials. This is a picture of somebody using an airbag to separate two objects. You see the pad that the airbag is in between. Right here, see how they've cribbed up some things so they can lift up a truck. There, they're lifting up a bus. I mean, you can use these airbags for lifting up a number of different objects. And the big thing is just make sure it's stable and make sure you crib when you lift.